He hesitantly walks inside his own apartment, as if he's sneaking, and Taehyung reluctantly follows him. A clear smell of fumes, dampness and something else that is difficult to explain hits the nose. He winces, coughing into his hand when he feels the urge to vomit. To anything, but he was definitely not used to such aromas. Taehyung follows the boy through what appears to be a living room and down the hallway. In some places torn and damp wallpaper, burnt and scratched old linoleum, stains from leaks on the ceiling. All this causes only a desire to leave as soon as possible in him. And it's beyond the man's head how Jun-kook, so gentle and pure in every way possible, can live in a place like this. He would not hesitate to call this hole a real garbage dump if someone asked his opinion. Looking at the surroundings, he almost collides with the boy's back when he stands in the passage to the next room. As Taehyung turns around, he takes a moment to realize that it is the kitchen. "And why are you standing here?" the man asks, leaning down a little and looking into his face. But when he sees the fear on Jun-kook's face and keeps his eyes on where the boy's gaze is directed, nausea rises up his throat once again. There is a male body on the floor of a tiny old kitchen. A flabby, overweight body with a bruised head. The man notices traces of blood splattered across the floor nearby. Jun-kook. Taehyung calls out softly, but Jun-kook continues to stare at the man on the floor. Kim can see his bottom lip tremble. "Okay," he sighs, nodding, and deftly removes his handkerchief from the pocket of Jun-kook's denim jacket, which the boy stuffed there. Taehyung pushes him aside slightly as he makes his way inside, trying not to inhale too deeply for the local aromas. The entire kitchen is filled with the nauseating smell of cheap alcohol and the fumes from the body lying here. The man tries to step carefully, choosing the most, in his opinion, clean places on the floor, and, straightening his open coat, squats down next to the body. Kim covers his hands with an expensive handkerchief. Its price doesn't matter anymore, he knows, and touches the stranger's neck in disgust. He frowns, touching it lightly, and finally feels the pulse under his fingers. Exhaling noisily, he straightens the handkerchief on his hand. He hums something, and Taehyung lets out an odious laugh. "Your deceased is pretty alive." He glances at Jun-kook as he whimpers loudly, covering his mouth with his hand. Taehyung shakes his head, giving the man a few more hugs, and his voice is in contrast rougher than it was a moment ago when he was talking to his boy. "Hey, get up!" the man frowns, moaning even louder, and when he touches his own temple, Taehyung rises, looking around, and throws the handkerchief on the table with disgust. He doesn't want to touch it anymore, and it doesn't matter how much this little thing cost. The stranger, continuing to mumble either from intoxication or from pain, holds on to his head and finally opens his eyes. Taehyung hears Jun-kook sob of frightening relief somewhere nearby, but he doesn't take his eyes off this piece of shit of a man. He can't call it otherwise. Finally realizing that he sees the ceiling of his own kitchen in front of him, flashes through all the events that were before he received a couple of blows to the head, and he suddenly rises to his feet, looking around. In the next second, a brutal look stumbles upon Jun-kook, and a moment later he pounces on the boy, grabbing him by his jacket and shaking him like a rag doll. You! He screams in his face, and Jun-kook whimpers in fear, immediately closing his eyes, and inside all the organs are constricting, exactly like hours ago when Maz bent him over the table in the same room and tried to pull off his clothes. "I'll kill you, you!" Taehyung pulls him off Jun-kook with a jerk, grabbing the back of the t-shirt, because of which it tears, digging into the neck of the hated neighbor of Jun-kook. And as soon as he has time to understand something, Kim's fist hits his face, and the crunch of a broken nose runs through the kitchen. Morse cries out in pain, clutching at his nose, which now listen here, the steely voice of the man, completely different from what Jun-kook had heard him before, sounds frightening. I'll beat the hell out of you myself if you dare even look at him again, let alone touch him. Understand? Taehyung breathes heavily, disgusted at what he can't seem to call a man after what he's seen. But Jun-kook's sobs that cut through his ear only inflame his anger even more. Do you understand? He repeats, shaking the decrepit body, and Moz whines even louder, feeling how it hurts in his broken nose. Taehyung tosses him away in disgust, hearing the body thud against the kitchen cabinet, and continues to glare at the stranger. The man staggers away from the cabinet and shuffles out of the kitchen under the steadfast gaze from Kim until he stops in front of Jun-kook, who is still pressed to the frame of the doorway, sobbing soundlessly. Stay alone with me one more time, and you'll definitely never be able to walk again. Did you hear me? Badly, Kim growls from behind, and Moz flinches. Get out of here while you are able to walk. Moz, giving the boy a last look of hate, disappears from the kitchen, and only when the entrance door slams a moment later, Jun-kook sobs loudly, exhaustedly sliding down the wall to the floor. Taehyung takes one step to him, already at the floor, catching his body. Jun-kook's knees buckle, refusing to hold him any longer, and the boy cries hysterically. The man's frightening voice disappears, replaced by a caring and soothing one, and he gently presses Jun-kook to him, stroking the boy's head and back, trembling from crying. It's okay, baby, it's okay now, he whispers in his ear as Jun-kook hides in his chest, crying loudly until his throat hurts. Do you hear me? Jun-kook, do you hear me? I'm here, you're safe with me. He won't hurt you anymore. The boy tries to sob, but he chokes on his own tears. He tried to. Mr. Kim, he tried to. Taehyung clenches his jaw and closes his eyes. I got it, baby boy. But, please, don't say it out loud, or I'll definitely decide to catch him up. Jun-kook sobs again as he feels another wave of tears rolling in, and the man's black turtleneck is already stained with his tears. Thank you, the boy whispers hoarsely, still trembling. Thank you, Mr. Kim. If you hadn't come with me, he would. I'm so scared. Taehyung continues to soothingly pat his head, swaying slightly. And this piece of shit is lucky that I can't leave you, because otherwise he wouldn't have left here on his own. Believe me, I was so scared, and you hit him with just one blow. You saved me, Mr. Kim. I own you, then give it to me right now, Taehyung whispers his temple and wrapping his arms around Jun-kook tighter, helping him to his feet. What we're leaving here right now, Mr. Kim. I don't care about anything you say, the man snaps, pulling back slightly and looking at the boy. I really want to wipe your tears, baby boy, but I will do it when I wash my hands after touching that pig. But now we are leaving here. Take what you need with you, sir. Jun-kook sobs again, shaking his head uncertainly in denial. No need. He left, and after your words he probably won't get to me anymore, and Taehyung closes his eyes, takes a deep breath, and mentally counts to 10 so as not to raise his voice. Jun-kook, he says harshly. Either take the things you need, or I'm picking you up right now and taking you out of this dump. But, sir, Jun-kook flinches, sniffling, and all words are lost as he meets Kim's furious gaze. It seems that a man is worth considerable effort even to speak calmly. I'm asking just one more time. Taehyung looks into his eyes. Do you need to take something with you to leave? If not, we are leaving right now, Mr. Kim. Please. I see. Taehyung sighs, nodding, picking up Jun-kook's fallen backpack from the floor, and then, confidently grabbing his arm, leads Jun-kook out of the apartment. Mr. Kim. Please wait, please. Mr. Kim. Jun-kook squeals as Taehyung pulls him out into the stairwell, slams the old door so loudly that peeling paint falls from the ceiling, and only manages to sob, trying to catch his breath, when the man quickly pulls him down the steps. He doesn't even have a chance to cry, they go away so fast. You won't stay here for another minute, it is the only thing Taehyung says when they're already outside, and the scratchy frosty wind spits in their faces in an unexpected gust. And it's not up for discussion. Jun-kook whimpers, only submissively obedient to Taehyung as he continues to hold his hand tightly as he leads the boy back to the car. Jae-hope, standing by the car, quickly throws out his cigarette and opens the back door for them. Mr. Kim. Is everything okay? Noticing the crying Jun-kook and the enraged boss, the bodyguard asks immediately. Now, yes, Taehyung nods, pushing Jun-kook into the car like a child, watching the boy climb inside, and he himself stops at the door and takes a pack of wet wipes from the drawer between the back seats, immediately pulling out a couple. The man begins to squeamishly clean his hands, trying to wash off not only the blood, but preferably all traces of that freak, and turns his head to Jae-hope. We'll go to the nearest gas station firstly. I need to wash my hands and wash Jun-kook too. Yes, sir. The guy nods politely, trying not to react to Jun-kook's sobs that continue to come from the car. And then to the apartment, Taehyung nods without hesitation. Jae-hope freezes. Upper East Side, sir? To Mrs. Kim. Taehyung lets out a weary chuckle as he tosses his used tissues into a nearby trash can and walks back to the car, turning his head to look at the bodyguard. To the battery, Jae-hope. To my apartment, Jae-hope, nodding politely, holds the door open for the man. As you please, Mr. Kim.